Oh my god, as I almost break it. Wow, we're really just gonna like make this thing completely naked and be okay with the fact we're gonna live in renovation. Because the whole point of doing the trailer, Rachel, was to not live in renovation. Oh. Well, hello, my beautiful YouTube family. So I am sitting on what is the aftermath of this episode. And before we dive in, because we are diving into the solo home renovation finally, I've been throwing a lot of random episodes at you. I feel like there's a lot of fluff, but it's all to set us up for all the juice that is to come. I feel like there was a comment that said my channel is a mess, and that is very true. That is because I just film it as my life is, and my life for the last 2 years has been the messiest it has ever been. It also has been the most beautiful. Behind the scenes, even though my life is a mess, it is the first time for once, at least in my life in the last 3 years, I've been really excited about YouTube and getting back. So I've been like pumping out so much content. I just wanted to pop on here and be like, I know there's a lot happening. I know there's a lot always happening, but we're finally fully focused on the house, which feels really good. Any kind of extra episode that's popping up in between, like the pond or the exterior, is because I'm using that time to study what I need to get permitted to be able to move forward with the house. So I kind of just wanted to explain, if anybody were to actually watch this intro, about how things are going to be handled over here. So I love you guys. Let's get started on like literally tearing this house apart. Ask me why I'm already crying this episode. What would make me the happiest is demoing this wall with you, because I don't know if you guys know, but me and my friends talk the absolute most about this wall. As much as we love the nook in the kitchen, this wall inhibits communication from all sides. You're sitting in here, literally right here. That's why I busted a hole, so in hopes you can kind of hear. But you can't hear anybody. It's just like a little soundproof studio over here. So I would like to open this up, start to kind of learn what framing is, what framing is not, and go from there, because I don't know about you, but there's a lot of things I want to do to this house that I'm not going to hire people for. So I'm in a situation where I need to open up these walls and see what I'm dealing with. I also need to showcase to you guys how I'm actually doing that, because nobody has shown me. We're going to do it together, because I'm sure there are people that are going to give me incredible feedback, and I'm sure there's people that are going to give me comments of new perspectives of ways I can handle this renovation, since this is my first time doing, you know, like a permitted house. So that's what we're doing today. We're demoing the living room, we're designing it, and we are figuring this situation out. All right, I'm done crying. That was ridiculous. We're gonna do like half-see situation. We're gonna just focus on clearing out this side of the room first, and I'm gonna flip you around and we're gonna do the other side of the living room, because it's interesting. The layout of this living room, it's not necessarily big, it's just wide. So it's a weird layout that we're gonna have to figure out together. Oh my God, do I hope Lindsay doesn't get mad. This is Lindsay's from 1997 wrestling school photo. She's right here, she's my best friend. So this is gonna go, I'm gonna have a huge gallery wall in the house, and I wanna get like family photos from all my friends, because I'm not close with my biological family. Like my DIY family is my family, man. So I have to kind of like collect, not necessarily against the rule, but collect their family photos. And I want to do it by doing the most awkward ones, even though I think this one is the most rad, because Woodbrain, who is just she's just my lady. I just love her so much. She was, I think, the first female on her all boys wrestling team. So I am proud of this woman. And oh my God, as I almost break it. If you're curious about this guy, and then I'll shut up, then I'm just gonna clear out this room without like yelling at you guys about everything, because everything's a past DIY. This is one of the first DIYs that I ever did using power tools. I used a planer and a sander and a drill, and I just try to figure it out without anything crazy. So I will link this for you, because I did this years ago, and it's still just holding on. I am definitely not the person that can stand in a room and see what can happen in the future. Like, I am a bulldozer. I need to get in and physically move things out, clear it, and then my design inspiration will come. The difficulty with this room for me was it being a combination space. I originally wanted to put the dining room where the couch is, and where Blaze is laying, I wanted to have the couch to have like a conversational piece around the fireplace, but you'll see how quickly that changes right when I start to demo. I'm going to be putting a ton of polls over on the community page for us to kind of decide like what we want to do, what kind of floors do we want to go with, what kind of paint, you know, what shall we do with the ceiling. Those are 3 that are going to come out of this episode for sure. I already knew though that I did not want to keep the carpet. As much as I love that you can't hear the click clackiness of, you know, the dog's nails, I do not like how much dust is getting captured underneath there. Captured, geez, what a weird sentence. Captured underneath there. And I live in dust and sand and dirt, and just carpet and that doesn't mix. So let's rip that up and be able to easily clean it versus like just surface value clean it. All that brown you see is dust. The reality of renovation, that kind of what's hitting me right here, was kind of clocking in on like how many times I'm gonna have to move again, to move piles to get it to the final destination of the trash can. And as that was settling in, I was just like, okay girl, you got this. We've been just moving to move for the last 2 years on this property. This is gonna sound bonkers. I'm just gonna open up the drywall because I would like to potentially either frame a circle opening, because everybody here in the desert has a circle and I do not, and I feel left out, or just have an open framing type of situation that turns into a ginormous bookshelf. I really do believe every house should have a wow moment, and as much as I like the rest of the house is going to be incredible, my main focus and where like the accent is going to be is mainly the kitchen. And so I thought it'd be cool to kind of turn this into like a 70s inspired room divider open shelving, but we need to open that up. The quicker I do this, the quicker we can get back to normal. First thing that threw me off about this was insulation. I haven't noticed insulation in the other walls I've demoed or kind of broken into to hang things. So this has me believing that this used to be the exterior of the house. Okay, now we clean. It's only 11:30 at night. One thing about desert living that I love is the desert is definitely going to tell you, well, everywhere is going to tell you what you're going to do, but with the heat, the desert just smacks you down. We had a heat wave during this time, and I forgot that I have to switch my schedule and kind of become nocturnal and sleep during the middle of the day. I asked a couple different makers as well, like, am I the only one that's switching my schedule, or are you kind of switching to nocturnal mode? And it's just funny how like a general consensus is like, you're literally working around the sun now. So you're working early morning and late night. Again. Sort of saying. All right. I was up until like 2 doing phase 1 of the shelving. I need to finish phase 2. Before I went to bed, I started to kind of recognize that I will need a space to work, like actually like computer work and whatnot, as I make my way through this renovation. And even though I DIY'd an office for my ex-assistant, that room's become a catch-all now that I'm down to a one-woman show, and I just wanted to have a space instead of this area. Exactly how I'm sitting right here is exactly how I edit. My body is straight, I quarter turn to my computer, and it is just not okay. So I partnered up with Sihu's ergonomic desk chair to kind of show you how I'm straightening things out as I'm diving into this renovation. I will be the first to admit, like I just showed you, me editing like that, that's just not feasible for the long hours that I'm pulling. Specifically with the hard labor that I'm doing, at the end of the day when I sit down, I should be getting the support I need to be able to do the job successfully that requires my physical body. On average, you spend about 2,336 hours in a chair, so I don't know why we're not paying more attention to it. And Sihu literally has your back with their dynamically self-adaptive lumbar support. It legit conforms to your spine, providing comfort and support for your back during different postures without the need for manual adjustment. It goes with your body's flow. You can also adjust the headrest freely up and down, back and forth, or precisely rotate it to provide the ideal support for your neck and head. Everybody's different. You gotta treat it right. And I don't know about you, but on top of it all, for me, it's the breathable mesh, specifically being in the desert with no air conditioning and having to sit down for long hours. Those things do not mesh, but now they do. If you guys are interested in getting your own Sihu Doro C300 ergonomic office chair, you can head over to the link in the description down below, or I pinned it in the comment, and you can actually get an extra 6% off right now. Thank you so much for sponsoring today's episode. Let's dive right back into this DIY. after living with the framing open for the week, something I can say is I love the amount of light that it pours in. It also oddly allows the heat to kind of move through the house. So even though this side, because it gets the majority of the sun, gets really hot, it feels like it doesn't get as hot as it used to because it's not like trapped in here. I keep telling all my friends that I think my fans can all communicate now, and it kind of just has made the room so much cooler. On top of that, removing the carpet immediately made the house cooler, and the dogs are able to lay everywhere and just kind of sploot like blazes now. Something I am really a huge fan of, even with just the original 2x4 framing, is the texture that it adds, because you're gonna be able to add these design elements once I add the shelving in between, and the fact that you feel like you're in one open layout, but also separated at the same time. I'm a big fan about that because I kind of want every space to have its full function. But I also designing my house around my FOMO. I want to be able to see you, I want to be able to hear you, I want to be able to make eye contact with you everywhere. I need to understand how to move this framing. This is a load-bearing wall. You can't see it on your end, but I'll show you. It looks like two 2x4s, but on this side there's a 4x4 stacked on top. I'm pretty sure, and it does run all the way across, so that the 4x4 is all the way over, which means that this is a load-bearing wall, which is great that I didn't have the initial intention that like I wanted to demo this and open this up, because like how disappointed would I be? I wanted to keep it, so we're working with it. I know that it keeps saying I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, so I'm just gonna tape it out in green for you guys so you can really get a visual of what we're doing. All right, so what I am taping out right now on the right-hand side, I want to open that up and make that a high top bar with bar stools on the living room side, but basically like a countertop or a snack space or a presentation space, if you will, on the other side of the kitchen, but you can see all the way through the circle. Obviously, it's just a beautiful wood circular opening to add some softness to the space. Pace yourself. Listen, this episode may seem boring to you, but I was working through a heat wave all week when I could without overwhelming myself, because I'm not going to do what I did in the trailer, and I highly suggest you don't do the same either, where you dive into a project and you bite off way more than you can chew, and then you get deflated, and then the project started and it's sitting there unfinished in front of you and you're just over it. And maybe I'm just, you know, trauma bonding over it, project trauma bonding, but I just refused to do that this time. So I took my week, this is what we got done, and then once I demoed everything, I wanted to skim coat the walls because get this texture away from me, please, immediately. Take forever though. Now, I am definitely not against textured walls, but one surefire way to immediately sleek up your space is to remove that texture. And by doing that is you just water down some joint compound and you lightly skim coat that on to your walls. If you want an in-depth tutorial, I did one for the trailer. Please go watch it because that was way more painful to do than this one. Oh my God, I just realized I shouldn't even be focusing on doing the skim coat in the living room. I should be doing it in the guest bedroom. Fun, which is super hot. Okay. Every tool that I've used throughout this video, I have linked down below for you. So if you wanted your renovation starter kit, if you needed something like this, it's down in the description box. Honestly, wasn't until this moment that I realized that I could turn my copper workshop table into my dining room table over here by the fireplace that I started losing my mind. I also didn't touch the ceiling yet because I did have to test for asbestos. So as I am waiting for the results, be sure to head over to the poll and start to just vote on the designs that I want to do for the ceiling. Other than that, it's just different walking out of my master bedroom and into somewhat of a plan now, right? Like we have a dining area, we have a living area. We're starting to see what we want to do with the kitchen and how we're going to incorporate that to make the whole entire space flow now that we opened up that wall. It just kind of feels like I'm finally getting it together. And I'm just so damn excited to do this solo reno. My brain is literally breaking thinking about how I need to move all that electrical in order to do the next step of this larger than life, the biggest bookshelf wall I've ever done. But I got you guys, and I am just excited to be back and uploading, and I know I'm throwing a lot of weird episodes at you guys, but it just feels good to get back into the swing of things and starting to feel inspired to post again. Please let me know what day is best for you guys down below. I've been super random. I will see you soon for another DIY.